Peacemaker 2 was definitely not what I expected. Now, I can see why some of you might be a bit disappointed with the final episode. It wasn't this epic, grand finale people were anticipating, but honestly, the more I think about it, the more the ending makes sense, and it's clearly laying the groundwork for what comes next in the DCU. So let's get into it. Okay, I'm going to start off this review by talking about the intro. At first I was like, it's decent, but it's not as good as season 1, but as the series went on, the song and dance started to make more sense. Now I don't know about you, but by the end of the series I actually preferred it to season 1. Also, I wasn't expecting the dance to be as controversial as it was, to the point where it even got removed off Fortnite. It clearly took inspiration from Walt Disney's De Fura's Face with Donald Duck's dance, but it's subtle, so you only realised later in the show once you got more context. What I liked about this series is James Gunn showed us that his films and TV shows are all going to have very different tones dependent on the hero. Not only that, how he manages to balance the main cast development as well as expanding the overall DCU but without it feeling forced. The main story revolves around Peacemaker's quantum unfolding chamber, aka his multiversal doorway, that leads into 99 other universes. And I have a theory that one of them leads into Snyder's Injustice universe, and eventually David Corenswet's Superman will fight Cavill's. Now, when it comes to the alternate universe that Peacemaker travels to, I could tell something was off right away, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. It wasn't till the next episode when I noticed there was no people of colour in the background. And I don't know about you, but I'm definitely going to need to rewatch the series because if they showed it, I didn't see that giant Hitler mural till it was pointed out by Harcourt.
Fuck, how'd I miss that?
Speaking of Universe X, the twist with Peacemaker's dad not being racist was done so well, and the moment Vigilante burst through the window and absolutely butchers him was just brutal as fuck. But that entire end sequence was so well executed, easily one of the best moments of the season, and perfectly sets up his brother's revenge arc. I reckon that he's going to return at the end of season 3 and invade the universe once Peacemaker's been rescued from Salvation, and if that happens, I could easily see a crossover with Creature Commandos in season 4. Speaking of which, Rick Flag throughout the series feels completely different than he did in Creature Commandos. I'm not sure if it's because he finally found out Peacemaker killed his son, or we just saw a different side of him before, but in Creature Commandos, he didn't seem like such a dick. Also, having Rick Flag team up with Lex Luthor is wild. Again, this is another thing I didn't see coming, but I'm all for it. Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor was awesome in Superman, so I can't wait to see what James Gunn does with the character going forward. The way James Gunn manages to balance all of these storylines and characters is insane if you think about it. Between the multiversal chaos, Peacemaker's personal growth, as well as setting up the wider DCU, it could have easily felt messy or forced, but somehow he manages to make it work. And honestly, if I started talking about each cast member, I'd be here all day. They all crushed it, both the returning crew and new faces. Everyone just felt locked in this season. You can tell they really understood the characters and the tone Gunn was going for. Every performance was on point and no one felt wasted. It's the kind of cast that makes you genuinely excited for every scene. However, I do need to give a shout out to Eagly. Not only do we find out that he's the Prime Eagle, but him giving Economus a hug at the end was absolutely perfect.
I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Perfect.
Now for me, the best episode was the finale, and I know some of you was disappointed with that episode, but let me explain why it didn't need to be the big, flashy fight people were expecting. Instead of a typical big budget action sequence, we got to see Harcourt and the other Argus agents investigating what's behind the various doors in the quantum unfolding chamber. And let's face it, they were some of the most fucked up and chaotic scenes in the DCU yet. That crazy ass Candyland where the guy gets his face ripped off was brutal. They also showed us a zombie infected universe which could come into play later down the line, potentially giving us a DC's TV series or movie to rival Marvel Zombies. It also sets up the biggest twist of the series, discovering Salvation, finding out it's part of Rick's and Lex's plan to send metahumans there so they can never return to Earth is huge. I think it's going to have major effects on the wider DCU, and I wouldn't be surprised if Salvation ends up being the main focus of Creature Commandos Season 2. At the end of the episode, after Peacemaker and the gang set up checkmate, I was waiting for the other shoe to drop, and I figured his brother would come through for revenge. But I did not expect Flag to kidnap Peacemaker and send him into Salvation alone. I mean, he's not even a metahuman. Overall, Peacemaker Season 2 was a wild ride. It's unpredictable, dark, funny, and has depth, taking the story to places most superhero shows wouldn't dare. And it pays off with moments that stick with you long after the episode ends. Even without a huge, action-packed finale, the series works because it balances world building, character growth, and shocking twists in a way that keeps you hooked. By the end, you're left curious, excited, and honestly, just wanting to see what comes next. But what about you? What are your thoughts on Peacemaker Season 2? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? And do you have any theories for the future of the DCU? Let me know down in the comments, and if you could do me a solid by liking and subscribing, it'd be much appreciated. I hope you all have a great week, and thanks for watching. Until next time, peeps, stay frosty.